Trump absolutely crumbled while talking to Mark Carney on national TV after breaking every promise he made to his base, like turning Canada into the 51st state. But today, Prime Minister Mark Carney walked into the White House and shut him down to his face. Let's begin with the first minutes of the meeting.
President Obama, and if he wanted help, I'd give him help because I'm a really good builder and I build on time, on budget. He's building his library in Chicago. It's a disaster. And he said something to the effect, I only want DEI, I only want woke. He wants woke people to build it. Well, he got woke people, and they have massive cost overruns. The job is stopped. I don't know. It's a disaster.
This is absolutely insane. Trump is sitting right next to Mark Carney, the former head of the Bank of England and Canada's soon-to-be finance minister. And what does he do? He starts ranting about Obama's presidential library. Not inflation, not the economy, a library. He actually says he's a really good builder. This is the same guy who couldn't finish a wall after burning through billions. Then he blames delays on it being too woke, says Obama only hired DEI people.
And I don't like that happening because I think it's bad for the presidency that a thing like that should happen. He's got a library that's a disaster. And he wanted to be very politically correct, and he didn't use good, hard, tough, mean construction workers that I love, Marco. I love those construction workers. But he didn't want construction workers. He wanted people that never did it before, and he's got a disaster in his hands.
This is 25th Amendment stuff, and it's playing out in real time. Trump is seated next to Mark Carney, a world-class economist, and instead of addressing, say, the global economy, he's melting down about Obama's library. It's nonsense. Total word salad. He claims the project failed because Obama didn't hire tough, mean construction workers. What is this? A Fast and Furious reboot. This is the same guy who bankrupted a casino, and now he's lecturing world leaders about how to pour concrete. The man is angry, rattled, and clearly distracted because when Trump feels pressure, he panics. He lashes out at his political enemies, even when they have nothing to do with the topic. Obama, Canada, DEI, construction, none of it connects, except in Trump's unraveling head. But here's where it gets good, because Carney's about to respond, and Trump, he's not gonna like what's coming next. And Carney, you can see he's holding back laughter, but stay locked in. Carney's about to hit back hard, and Trump is not ready. But what is he saying here? It's an eruption.
It's necessarily on trade. Just to finish, we also have a situation, because everyone says, when are you going to sign deals? We don't have to sign deals. We could sign 25 deals right now, Howard, if we wanted. We don't have to sign deals. They have to sign deals with us. They want a piece of our market. We don't want a piece of their market. We don't care about their market. They want a piece of our market. So we can just sit down, and I'll do this at some point over the next 2 weeks, and I'll sit with Howard and Scott and with our great vice president, who has done a really good job. We have some good news to report on a lot of fronts, but JD will be there and Marco, and we're going to sit down and we're going to put very fair numbers down, and we're going to say, here's what this country, what we want, and congratulations, we have a deal. And they'll either say, great, and they'll start shopping, or they'll say, not good, we're not going to do it. I said, that's okay, you don't have to shop. Now, we may think, well, they have a right, that maybe we were a little bit wrong, so we'll adjust it.
Ah yes, classic Trump strategy. Step 1, word vomit about 25 deals. Step 2, pretend everyone is begging to do business with him. What's actually happening? Other countries are running in the opposite direction, straight into China's arms. Why? Because under Trump, the US has become the world's most unreliable business partner. He says we don't need their markets, but reality says otherwise. China won't even return his calls. And while Trump pretends to be in control, they're loving the fact that he's not. That's why he's panicking. That's why he tries to look tough, and that's why he rambled through that bizarre list of names like it was a family barbecue instead of a trade negotiation. But here's the kicker. Mark Carney knows exactly how weak this all sounds. And the next clip, he says what everyone else is thinking, right to Trump's face. Here is what you've been waiting for.
They get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But The opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the President just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the President has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
And they have, I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, they were low, and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never.
Donald Trump just got politely steamrolled, and he didn't even notice. Carney hits him with a royal-level shutdown, saying Canada isn't for sale and never will be. A total checkmate move disguised in diplomatic charm. While Trump is trying to crack real estate jokes, Carney's talking global security, NATO, and actual commitments. You can feel the difference. One guy is living in reality, and the other is still playing Monopoly with countries. And just when Trump tries to claw back relevance with a weak never say never, it lands like a sad punchline. But hold on, Carney's not done embarrassing him.
Canadians don't want it. Would you respect that?
Sure, I would. But this is not necessarily a one-day deal. This is over a period of time they have to make that decision. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may. If respectfully, Canadians' view on this is not going to change on the 51st day. Secondly, we are the largest client of the United States in the totality of all the goods. So we are the largest client of the United States. We have a tremendous auto sector between the two of us, and the changes that made have been helpful. 50% of a car that comes from Canada is American. That's not like anywhere else in the world. And to your question about is there one thing? No, this is a bigger discussion. There are much bigger forces involved. And this will take some time and some discussions, and that's why we're here, to have those discussions, and that is represented by who's sitting around.
Boom. Canada is not for sale, and Mark Carney made that crystal clear. For all our Canadian friends watching, this one's for you. That's how you deal with Donald Trump. You stay calm, you stay firm, and you let the facts do the damage. Trump throws out a desperate never say never, but Carney shuts it down with cold economic reality. Canada's not budging. Carney knows Trump's game, and he's not playing. And what makes this even wilder is what Trump says right after being humbled like that, because next, he finally reveals what he really wants out of a deal with Canada, and it's ridiculous.
Please.
What's the top concession you want out of Canada? The top concession you want out of Canada?
Concession?
Yes.
Friendship.
But that's not a concession.
No, we're going to be friends with Canada. Regardless of anything, we're going to be friends with Canada. Canada is a very special place to me. I know so many people that live in Canada. My parents had relatives that lived in Canada, my mother in particular. And no, I love Canada.
Friendship from the man who spent years torching America's alliances like a toddler with a blowtorch? This is the guy who insulted every G7 leader on Twitter, then says he wants to be friends like it's a schoolyard handshake deal. Trump isn't just bad at diplomacy, he's actively allergic to it. He doesn't understand trade, he doesn't understand partnerships, and he definitely doesn't understand what a concession is. But the most surreal part, he starts name-dropping Canadian relatives like he's trying to charm his way out of a speeding ticket. It's delusional, and it gets worse, because right after that little love letter to Canada, he exposes just how little he knows about the actual trade relationship.
During the campaign, Prime Minister Carney talked about the American betrayal. How do you react if Canada decided not to shop in the American store as much as before and decided to partner with other countries?
Well, we don't do much business with Canada from our standpoint. They do a lot of business with us. We're at like 4%.
And there it is. You can actually see Mark Carney's soul leave his body. Trump says, we don't do much business with Canada, even though they're literally our biggest trading partner. He doesn't get it. Nobody on his team gets it. And if you don't believe it, wait until you see what happened when his own trade guy got dragged in front of Congress. You've got to see this.
So my concern is on the tariffs. Who pays tariffs, Mr. Secretary? No. Answer the questions I asked, please. I only have 5 minutes. Who pays tariffs?
Sorry, well.
Who pays tariffs?
Sorry,
Mr. Secretary, please.
Excuse me.
The question is very simply, who pays tariffs, Mr. Chairman?
The-
I'd like him to answer that question.
Well,
He wants to answer other questions.
well, Congressman, if the exporters, they dislike tariffs so much, why wouldn't they, if, I think what you're trying to get me to say.
Did you remember the question? I'm not sure you did. Who pays tariffs?
That it's a very complicated question.
Reclaiming my time. People pay tariffs, right? Reclaiming my time, Mr. Secretary. Reclaiming my time, Mr. Secretary. Reclaiming my time. You clearly aren't going to answer it. I'm not going to waste my time having you go,
This was a straight up demolition. Congressman Mark Pocan asked the most basic question in trade policy: who pays tariffs? And Trump's trade guy, Scott Bessent, collapsed like a folding chair at a monster truck rally. He stammered, dodged, tried to change the subject, and then finally called it complicated. Complicated? It's not. The answer is consumers pay tariffs. Period. This is what happens when you put unqualified loyalists in charge of the global economy. They don't know what they're doing, and worse, they think you don't know either. Pocan didn't just expose Bessent, he exposed the entire Trump administration's clown show trade policy. By the way, leave a subscription if you like our content, it would mean a lot to me. But now back to the video, and believe it or not, the humiliation is still not over.
Mr. Secretary,
Mr.
Chairman, I asked reclaiming my time.
Tariffs.
Mr. Chairman, and I asked to reclaim my time. Did I not? No, I said reclaiming my time because he's clearly not answering it. So, yeah, so as a small business owner, and unfortunately I'd like that time back since you failed to recognize me for 30 seconds. So I just recently from one of my suppliers got the tariff surcharge on things. And in addition to the tariff surcharge, guess what else got raised? American-made walnut plaques. That has nothing to do with tariffs, but companies take advantage and do that. So right now, we are getting screwed right and left because of the indiscriminate use of tariffs. That's the reality for Main Street. And you go off to Beverly Hills for private investor conferences and talk about crazy Ivan theories. Answer that. What is the crazy Ivan theory of tariffs that you mentioned at the summit?
Well, first of all, sir, I've had meetings with more than 50 small lenders. So I want to clarify that. I would also say that in game theory, strategic uncertainty, of which you seem to like the name Crazy Ivan.
Well, it's your words, correct? Didn't you use Crazy Ivan at the
Well, you've used it 5 times. And
Answer the question, Mr. Chairman.
I am saying the strategic uncertainty is part of negotiations. That should we say,
Okay,
here's what we'll accept. Please take this.
Okay, I've got your answer. Thank you. I'm going to reclaim my time again. So for a small business, we don't have that luxury, right? When the ports are empty in California and we can't get goods and people are stocking up for Christmas goods, Crazy Ivan is great for, please don't take this offense, really rich people like you, but for people like me, it's not, right? That's what makes small businesses fail. That's what makes people lose their jobs. That's what makes the stock market tank. So I'll ask one more time, who pays tariffs?
Sir, the history would show that it is a complicated mix of who pays the tariffs over various times.
So that's exactly the problem. If your answer, and you are a very educated person, you have a very impressive bio, cannot answer the question who pays tariffs because you won't answer that, and you say it's a complicated issue, it's not complicated. Consumers pay Trump's tariff tax. That's the reality.
This wasn't a hearing, it was a public dissection. Pocan asked a simple question: who pays tariffs? And Trump's trade secretary gave us a live demonstration of why this administration couldn't negotiate a discount at a garage sale. Scott Bessent tried to dodge with nonsense jargon about strategic uncertainty and something called Crazy Ivan, which sounds less like policy and more like a rejected Bond villain. Meanwhile, real small businesses are watching their costs explode, American-made goods jacked up, port delays skyrocketing, holiday stock missing in action. But sure, keep talking about investor summits in Beverly Hills, because that is definitely helping Main Street. This is why Trump's economic team was a national liability, not because they had bad ideas, but because they had no idea. And shout out to Mark Pocan for cutting through the nonsense and saying what everyone else was too polite to admit. Consumers pay Trump's trade tantrums, period. We'll keep calling it like it is, every time. If you're here for that too, hit subscribe, smash that like, and flood the comments with hashtag Mark Carney because he did great. What Trump does next, even we couldn't make it up. Click on it.